Next up, we have Promat from ETEX Group talking about Promatect-XW, the new high-performance fire protection board, an A1 non-combustible board giving up to 60 minutes fire protection to structural steel. It's moisture-resistant, fully tested and certified, and this Tech Talk webinar will cover the development of the board, alongside its performance and applications. Promat will also take you through the installation of Promatect-XW, which has been designed to be fast and easy to install before a building is weathertight in order to save cost and time. You can join the live Q&A after the video using the link below.
Hello, and welcome to the webinar on Promatect-XW, the new passive fire protection board from Promat. Promat operates in 42 countries worldwide, and we manufacture a complete portfolio of fully tested and certified products, all used in the protection of life and property in the event of a fire. Promatect-XW is the new structural steel protection board developed by Promat, the global leader in passive fire protection. It is an A1 non-combustible board used to provide up to 60 minutes fire protection to structural steel. It is being manufactured to give permanent dimensional stability, which means in the event of a fire it reduces the speed at which the steel heats, allowing it to maintain its load-bearing capacity for longer. Promatect-XW has been designed with excellent weathering properties. It can be stored and installed on-site with no detriment to its fire protection properties for up to 3 months. It is quick to install, which means there are no hold-ups on site and no impact on other trades. Promatect-XW is manufactured under third-party accreditation at our manufacturing facility in Germany, and the plant works under ISO 9001 and 14001 standards. This in turn ensures full traceability on all the raw materials used in the manufacturing of Promatect-XW in order to give confidence to both specifiers and installers that the products used across sites in the UK are the same as that used in the development and testing of the board. Promatect-XW complements Promat's existing range of fully tested boards and technical sprays used in the fire protection of structural steel, offering protection from 60 through to 240 minutes. As part of our continuous improvement process, Promat is constantly fire testing, with the aim of extending the performance and range of applications for our products. Promatect-XW can be installed before the building is weathertight and is used to provide 1, 2, 3 and 4-sided encasements. It is typically used in universal columns, universal beams, hollow sections, stability bracing, steel decking support and lattice beams, along with other applications. Since the Grenfell tragedy, the performance of building materials, and in particular those used in the fire protection sector, have been under an unprecedented spotlight. At Promat, we take an uncompromising approach to fire protection, and we ensure that both our materials and our processes are fully traceable. To bring Promatect-XW to market, we have fully tested the product on both beams and columns to ensure that specifiers can be confident in the performance of the board. It is fit for purpose and has been independently tested and certified by Warrington Fire. Specification is based on 3 factors. 1. The section factor of the steel. 2. The limiting temperature for the steel. And 3. Whether the steel section is a beam or a column. Promatect-XW is fully tested at limiting temperatures from 300 degrees C to to 650 degrees C and is manufactured in a single 15mm thickness, making specification and stocking straightforward. Full technical support is available at promat.com or by contacting our technical team either via phone or email. Our technical team can support at all stages of the design process, from concept to the production of comprehensive project packs through to site inspection. And in addition to our accessible technical team, product information and installation videos can be downloaded from our website alongside technical and safety data. Installation is fast. For column encasements, measure, mark up, cut and fit to give a clean, impact-resistant finish, which can be decorated if required. The same process is repeated for beams, fixing to G-Tech metal angles and using a cover strip where required. So, in summary, Promatect-XW has been brought to the market to meet the needs of installers. It is a rigorously tested, thin solution which provides up to 60 minutes fire protection to structural steel. It can be left in a fully exposed environment with no impact on its fire performance. It's been developed by Promat, the world's leading passive fire protection company, and whose products are specified for a reason. It is A1 non-combustible, giving 60 minutes fire protection to structural steel, moisture resistant, fully tested and certified, and comes in a single thickness for ease of stocking and specification. Promatect-XW, designed around the needs of installers to save time and cost, but never compromising on its fire performance, and which can be installed before the building is weathertight. So I hope you've enjoyed the presentation today and found the information that it contains useful, and I look forward to any questions that you may have in the session that follows.
Hello to you all, I'm Jo Pickard, and a big thank you to Promat and David Ralston for a fantastic start to our FIREX Tech Talks today. Thank you all for joining us, and I hope you're having a great day. I mean, why wouldn't you, being a part of FIREX? So we have people, thanks for laughing. So we have people for joining us on the talk now for our live Q&A. So make sure you pop your questions through the Q&A tab on the right-hand side of your screen. You'll also be able to see other people's questions. So if you're interested in hearing the answer to those, make sure you upvote it and I'll get it answered for you. So we are now joined by John Adams and David Ralston from Promat. Chaps, it's really great to see you. Thank you very much for joining us. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Good, yeah, all good.
Brilliant stuff, both working from home there and have been throughout the whole pandemic, same as me here in my padded cell. So while we're waiting for the questions to come in from our audience today, they're just getting settled. Can you just give us a little potted version, a brief overview of the product and the benefits?
Yeah, of course. So Promatect-XW is a new board that's been designed by Promat. Promat is probably the world leading passive fire protection company, and our product range tends to be either in the protection of structural steel, compartmentation, fire stopping, or glass and ducting. Where XW fits in is the protection of structural steel. It's a board that's designed to give up to 60 minutes protection for steel and fits into our range of other boards within that segment, Vermiculux S and Superlux. So it just finishes and complements the range of structural steel protection.
Fantastic, thank you so much. So what are the common or most common use cases for Promatect-XW?
So normally we would see, go on, John.
I was going to say the main areas where XW is used is obviously within structural steel protection. So we'll be looking at columns, beams, rectangular hollow sections, lattice beams, etc. So that's the sort of main area for the product. It can be used in terms of partitionings, head of wall details, etc. Particularly where you have a compartment wall line, you need to maintain compartmentation between two areas of a building. It's an ideal product for that.
Brilliant. David, did you want to add anything?
No, that John's done it far better than I would have.
Fantastic. Tag teaming. So what is the process for testing and certification, and what does this mean for specifiers?
Well, that will be one for me, I think, Dave. The testing and certification part, which is one of my main roles, is we take the product. Obviously, we have to put it through extensive testing to make sure it does what it says on the tin. So we tested Promatect-XW against European standards, EN 13381 Part 4, where we've tested a loaded column, loaded beam, and many short sections to give us a temperature profile for the system. We're only using one thickness, so that makes it slightly easier for us. But once we've done that, we put that through a certification process, a third-party certification process, which we've used Certifier from Warrington Fire. And that involves taking the product from the production line all the way through the process, so it's fully traceable. So that we've asked Warrington Fire to select the product in the factory as it's made. They can see all the process of how it's been put together, make sure all the QC is in place. That product is then taken and tested. And then there's a follow-up procedure to that, in that every year Warrington will again continue to monitor the factory to make sure it's being made in the same way. And at the end of that, they will issue us a certificate, which is CF 5942 in this case, which is our third-party certification. So the whole process is independently audited throughout. Now, that certificate has a lifespan of 5 years, but during that process, it's continually monitored. We carry out audit tests throughout the whole certification lifetime. So, yeah, it's really to give confidence to anyone who's specifying the product that they are getting what they think they're getting.
Wow, quite rightly so. A very in-depth process and incredibly traceable. So well done, chaps. That's brilliant. Okay, so what is the process for testing and certification? You've just gone through that. I'll ask another question. Sorry,
That's fine.
reading them down. How do you achieve fire stopping of the joint line between boards?
There is no real fire stopping as such between boards. Onto columns, the joints are staggered between faces, so it's a straight butt joint. On beams, there is a cover strip behind the vertical web joints in the system, but apart from that, there's no additional fire stopping required for it.
Right, brilliant. Okay, so how does Promat aid specifications with architects and main contractors on projects?
That's probably one for me. So we have a technical team that usually sits in our office in Bristol, but they're all working from home naturally. So if there's any inquiries on this product or any products within the Promat range, that is directed to our technical specialists, who will either give a summary answer back by email, or can go through all the product design stage and issuance of product packs for it. So we have technical support widely available for the specification of the product, and that goes through the entire journey, through the spec journey, both from the initial inquiry from architect through to main contractor and subcontractor. Additionally, all the testing evidence that John talked about, our safety data sheets, our technical data sheets, are all available on promat.com, our website, as is an installation video and a video around the product itself. So pretty much everything is covered either online. If there's anything particular that people need, of course, they can contact our technical support team.
That's brilliant. So a range of support systems for the customer, which is fantastic. So what are the advantages of using Promat over, say, plasterboard systems?
So I think, again, I'll take that one, John. In terms of Promat itself, Promat as a business has been around for probably 60 odd years, something like that. And what is at the core of our being, if you like, is testing, and testing in real world environments. So we do a significant amount of testing each year, both on the development of XW and all the way through in all our other products as well. So fire testing is very much embedded in the culture of Promat, whether that's in our labs in Belgium, where the business is headquartered, or independent and notified labs around the world. So it's always testing and trying to look at the product and making sure that it's fit for purpose in a real world environment. If you look at the Promat boards particularly, the majority of our products are calcium silicate or a mixture of calcium silicate and other products with extra fibers attached. And typically you will see a Promat board will be quite hard density, it will be easy to handle, it will be impact resistant, it'll be easy to cut with a minimal of dust for it, and easy to handle on site. But I would say the main difference between Promat and where you see other boards is our commitment to testing.
Just to add that, I would say also, apart from the standard type testing that you would see to get that certificate in the background, Promat do a lot of testing, as Dave says, within the real world. So other details and junctions with other systems, partitions, etc. Those are the sort of details that we try to cover with Promat, which you might not normally cover with a plasterboard system, but we try to integrate with the real world scenarios so that we've got solutions that some other people will not have.
And also with
things typically like, as well, just to finish off what John was saying again, it was bouncing backwards and forwards. We're also aware that the weather in the UK is not great. When you're building, exposed buildings, you're putting in steel protection quite early in it, in the development of a product. The technology that we use on XW will give up to 6 months weathering. So you can leave it in a fully exposed environment while the rest of the build's going on around it, confident that it won't degrade in terms of its fire protection or any of its core requirements. So that weathering is a significant part of the board as well, that you wouldn't necessarily get with typical fireboards or other plasterboard solutions.
And also with regulations constantly changing and boundaries moving, this constant testing that you're doing, I suppose, is a real massive benefit for customers to be able to know that you're always on the ball with any changes that are coming up.
Very much so. I mean, testing has always been part of Promat's remit in terms of finding solutions. So we're constantly trying to innovate and find new solutions with our products, etc. So yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, so can this be I'm trying to read and it's not written properly. Can this board be used in conjunction with intimate now I need to say, I don't know how to say this word.
Intumescent.
Thank you so much. That paint on steelwork, or worst case, failed into some. You need to say it again. I'm dyslexic with certain words, and I need to write them down in phonetically. So
I'm thinking that what they're trying to ask there is whether we can overboard an existing intumescent paint system.
Thank you. That's exactly what they're asking, and I really appreciate your help.
Okay. Yes, you can. There are guidance rules where an intumescent paint may have failed, or there may be an existing paint in good condition, but on compartment wall lines there are requirements for insulation across the compartment wall line, and that's where a boarding system comes into its own, which intumescent paint can't provide. And what we would assume is that the board would provide all of the protection, and you wouldn't be relying on the intumescent paint to provide any of that protection to the system. So we can overboard. The recommendations from ASFP are that you leave a 50 times dry film thickness between the board and the intumescent paint, so there's no interaction between the two, but all the protection can be provided by the board in that situation.
That's brilliant. Okay, so do you have specification managers?
Yes, we do. The inquiry team, our technical team, can produce specification packs for any projects that require XW or any of the other Promat systems which may be used on a building. So yes, we can provide specification packs for that.
Brilliant.
Yeah, in addition as well, we have obviously our Promat sales team who engage an early stage with architects, and they're based around the UK. I mean, normally they would be in architects' offices helping them, highly technically trained. They go through all our technical training programs, and are currently going through the ASFP level 3 qualifications as well. So John's a fire engineer by background, I think. But even he has to go through the ASFP training as well for it as well. So from start to finish, cradle to grave, really, we will handhold all the way through. And when we get to from the original salespeople, our specification managers will be able to deal with the vast majority of inquiries that we do. But when we get into particular projects, that's when our technical sales team, our technical team, John's team, will really get into the nitty gritty and provide project packs and level of detail that the customer needs.
Okay, so I'm going to move straight on because there's questions coming in thick and fast. So are your products able to buy direct or only through distributors?
We go via distribution. So all of our sales for XW and the vast majority of our products are via distribution.
Okay, great. And how long does the weatherproofing last? Does it cover snow and -degree temperatures? I think you said somewhere around 6 months. Did you? Is that right?
Yeah, we're
6 months is
6 months is where we're fully exposed. Yes.
And how does that work with -degree temperatures?
Yeah, we are still covered. What we say is that we can leave the product fully exposed for up to 6 months in UK weather conditions, which can involve snow and other bits and pieces. It is variable. But yes, once we've closed in the system, closed in the building, then the same level of protection is provided. So yes.
Brilliant. So how long does the weatherproof, you just said that. So what does the maximum temperature this board has been tested to give it its 60-minute rating?
Well, during the test, we follow the standard time temperature curve in the EN standard. So at 60 minutes, it's around about 945 degrees C. So that's what your limiting or the exposure to the board is. But what we're trying to do is protect the steel to certain temperatures. So we have a range which is covered, which is called a limiting temperature. And just briefly, steel fails at certain temperatures depending on how much load is applied to it. If you've got a very high load on it, it will fail at a lower temperature. But the standard sort of accepted criteria is around about 500 degrees C. So we're protecting the steel work to 500 degrees C at 1 hour, and it depends on the size of the section, the shape of the section, the load that it's carrying, etc. So we tailor. That thickness is tailored to provide 60 minutes to probably 95% of all steel sections available.
And I suppose those sums are done by the developer, the builder, to be able to make sure that everything's put in place to make sure that things like Grenfell don't happen again, right?
Very much so. So we have the ability, our technical team can calculate what the AV sections are for structural steel sections, etc., and we can determine then which thickness needs to go on. So yeah, we can calculate those sort of figures. Brilliant.
David, anything to add?
No, I mean, it's an interesting point that you do pick up on, Joe. Since the Grenfell tragedy, of course, there's been quite rightly a huge spotlight on fire protection, both on manufacturing certification and everything that goes with it. And transparency is the key in all of this. So transparency behind the testing, transparency between the certification, the traceability of your raw materials, audits done on your factories. All our products are made in ETEX. Which is the group company, which is my background, all made in ETEX group companies, all subject to this traceability from raw materials all the way through to the final product, with audit and supervision over that to ensure really that the product that was tested and first developed is the product that is available in the market today. It's so critical, both for life safety, for reputation, for everything that goes with it. But critically, that people can have confidence in the product and the product's doing what the manufacturers say it'll do.
Do you know what? I absolutely couldn't agree more. And thank you so much for being transparent and being open about everything in your business. Good luck And thank you very much for your time today, John Adams and David Wilston from Promat.
Thank you, Jo.
Thank you, Jo.
Cheers, guys. Registration will be open soon for the next Tech Talks on the 26th and 27th of April, so watch out for that. Thank you so much again. And now we are, oh gosh, 3 minutes, 11 o'clock. We've got our next talk, and that's with Rockguard. See you there.